with continued work on the comprehensive plan update, the launch of new public defense office, and the recent adjustments to the clean water fees, Clark County had an active 2024 agenda. Recently, we sat down with Kathleen Otto, Clark County Manager, to review 2024 highlights for county government and learn what challenges and opportunities lie ahead in year 2025 and beyond.
Hello, I'm Jim Demlin with Clark County Close-Up. Thank you so much for meeting with us.
Thank you.
What do you believe were some of the biggest accomplishments for Clark County during this year?
We had a couple. We have a lot, but I won't name all of them. We did receive a couple awards from the governor for the work that Commission on Aging did, and also community planning did on middle housing code amendments. So that was a great accomplishment. Another one that I see as an accomplishment is the work that our law and justice partners did to review data and look at Proposition 4 that the city had put forward, as well as additional sheriff's office deputies. And that work was new to them, and it's not done anywhere else in the state, and that's going to continue with them looking at data and how that they can collaborate and ensure that we're providing the services. So I do think that was a big accomplishment and an eye-opener for all of those partners, and excited to see where they go with that.
Okay, what were some of the biggest challenges?
Budget, it's always budget. Staff doing more with less. I'm really concerned about our staff and our overtime, not just because it's a budget hit, but working a lot of overtime takes a strain mentally and physically. And the positions that have the most overtime, we need them to be sharp. And so I'm worried about our employees in the sheriff's office, our jail, juvenile detention, and others, and trying to get them some relief, but it's tough with the budget constraints.
Okay, let's get a little bit more in depth. The county continued work on the Comprehensive Growth Management Plan update. Can you explain the purpose of the plan and when the plan's due, how the public can get involved?
Yes, so the purpose is the Growth Management Act requires jurisdictions to update their plan, to update it based on state law, housing projections, or population and employment, sorry, not housing, but population and employment projections. So it's been a long process. Our community planning has been working with all the cities going through this process. It's due the end of 2025. And so the end of next year. It was originally due in June of 2025, and the state extended that for 6 months. And the community can get involved by going on our website, going on the community planning website. There's a dedicated spot there. You can see opportunities to volunteer, provide comments, see meetings, see all the documents and all the information that's going on.
Okay. The county council has already held several hearings regarding elements of the plan. What are some of the major issues still to be decided?
So one of our hearings tomorrow is the alternatives, land alternatives for the draft environmental impact statement. Okay. And so there's been a lot of work. Again, we've been working with the city since the summer trying to get this in front of council. So that is the next hurdle or the next step for them. And then they'll be doing additional research and analysis after that, and also provide any updates to code if needed moving forward.
Okay. The impacts of homelessness continue to hit this region hard. What are some steps underway to help people find affordable housing?
Yes, so yesterday in our budget, the Mental Health Sales Tax Committee did provide some recommendations for council that would actually support 40 additional units for wraparound services as well for those who are transitioning, as well as for tiny homes that will house more than 62 employees, or 62 community members, sorry. And so they did approve that yesterday, and I'm thankful for our Mental Health Sales Tax Committee. They did put out RFPs both internally and externally in the community, and I'm thankful for those in the community who provided proposals for that consideration.
Okay. In early 2024, the county launched a new public defense, 2024, the new public defense office. Why was this office created, and how will it improve services?
Yeah, so it's best practice. We're a very large county, and probably the only county that doesn't have an actual direct department in our offices. It was a contract model. So we have hired our director, Christopher Swaby. He's been on board for a couple months, and we've already started hiring attorneys. And as we're transitioning by hiring attorneys, we'll be reducing the number of contracts that we have that provide that service now. We'll of course keep some for conflict, but it's, staffing, it's good to have that direct oversight of employees. It's more competitive, and I think supportive of those who are providing the public defense.
Okay. Early in 2024, the state opened the Southwest Regional Law Enforcement Academy. How has this opening impacted the county's ability to fill vacant positions in the sheriff's office and jail services?
Yeah, it's definitely helpful to have it local. Those who are going through the academy don't have to travel, so it's better for their families. It's more cost effective. Our sheriff's office and our jail are intimately involved with the training academy. We actually do provide some of the trainings there now as well. And I think I mentioned this last time, but with our jail staff, with the intentional recruiting efforts and also the local academy, they've been better staffed than they've seen in more than 2 decades. I know the sheriff's office is getting some people on board as well. The overtime, like I said, is really hurting them. And hopefully we'll keep getting people through that academy and applying. So we're very grateful that it's here.
The county council recently approved an adjustment to the clean water fees. Why was this adjustment needed, and what types of services are covered by these fees?
Yeah, so the fees have not been updated for years. We do have regular requirements for permits that we have as well, but more importantly, it's to provide new and enhanced services and looking at our capital infrastructure, including like our stormwater facilities, also water monitoring services. So, and also be proactive. I think that is key. We'll be able to go out there and actually inspect all the pipes, all the systems that we have, determine the asset management and the length that we need to actually come back in and make sure that we're adequately addressing that, so we're not harming the community or the environment, and being proactive.
Okay. The county council adopted the 2025 budget yesterday, and was this budget more of a status quo, or were there cuts? Any impacts to major services?
Yes, it was mostly a status quo budget. Our expenses continue to exceed our revenues, so really anything that was recommended was mandated by law, or it was contractual, taxes, utilities, all of that. We did have some, if there was revenue streams tied to anything, that also was taken into consideration. There was no proposed cuts. However, the council did amend the recommendation to propose 50% reduction in travel for 2025.
Okay. There's talk on how does the revenue outlook look for 2025?
The revenue is stable in that our property taxes are stable, the sales tax is stable, other fines and fees that we have a couple that are coming in below, but our expenses are exceeding the revenues. So we are balanced for 2025, but we had to dip into one-time fund balance to balance, as well as do some other strategic initiatives beforehand.
Okay. Looking long-term, how can you meet the increasing needs from population growth with limited revenue growth, and what does the trend look like 5-10 years from now?
That's a good question, and it's a tough question. And if I had the magic wand, I think I'd be a millionaire myself. We need to maximize on our revenues. We need to be taking the 1%. Unfortunately, the council didn't approve the 1% yesterday. That had a significant impact on our budget. Over the last 12 years, we haven't taken it 6 times, and that resulted in a $37.5 million reduction in revenue. And I said this in our presentation yesterday, that would have cost a homeowner about $18 to $25 a year. So we need to maximize our revenues. We're going to be looking at levy lid lifts. We're going to look at public safety sales tax, because we are not balanced. In 2026, we're probably $9 million short already with no new requests. If you look out our 6 years, we're over 70 million short. So we have a tough road. We did see this coming before COVID, and luckily we had one-time funding with COVID, a one-time sales tax increase that got us through the last few years. But our reality is here, and we're going to be working starting in January with our council, our electeds, and department heads and probably meeting at least weekly or every other week to start talking about policy priorities in order to reduce our expenditures and maximize our revenues for 2026.
Okay. Obviously, this is one of the big challenges for county government in the coming years. Any other challenges and opportunities?
Yeah, unfortunately, the budget provides that challenge for us. I'm trying to find the opportunities. As you know, I always like to tie that. And we have amazing staff that are doing the best they can and having, with more workload put on them and more strain. We have not grown in staffing in most of our departments. We provide a lot of county-wide services that are mandated, so it's really that acceptable level of service. We're acting like a city in that we have very urban areas in the county, which is unusual. Spokane, I think, might be the only county that has that, but we don't have the same revenue streams. So we've got to be creative, and I trust our leadership team and our council for next year to make those hard calls, and hopefully community will also be involved.
Okay. What else would you like our viewers to know about county government?
It's ever changing. I want to ensure that the public knows that we do this for them, and we do take to heart inflation. And I've said that yesterday too. It's hitting everybody, and I understand that, but we are still trying to do the best that we can with the service levels. And if anybody's interested, always reach out. We have volunteer opportunities, employment opportunities, and of course, any feedback. We're always open to receiving feedback.
Well, thank you so much, and happy holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays.